Let's shift from the technical view and get your fundamental view on the market. Sharmila Joshi, Head Equity at Fairwealth Securities, joins in with a view on the market. Afternoon, Sharmila. Good to have you on the show. First up, what's your sense? Are we likely to be in this range for the next couple of weeks because there's unlikely to be any positive or negative trigger for the markets to digest in the near term?
Not for a couple of weeks, I think. I think definitely if we were to stay above this 54.10, 54.20 levels, then I think we will edge higher. I would say 54.70, and then if that, if you don't see too much of profit booking coming in there, then possibly higher. But my immediate target would therefore be 54.70. I think providing we hold out the way we seem to be holding out till about now. Because I think that, given the kind of nice close we had yesterday, so far the trade has panned out quite well. I think, given the fact that the rest of Asia is weak, we seem to be holding out. So, so far so good. I think if we end the day, another day above about 54.10 kind of levels, then 54.70 is a level we could be looking at.
Sharmila, after the recent outperformance from the pharma pack, are there any stocks where there's still money to be made?
Yes, I think I heard you all speak of Ranbaxy. I think that definitely looks good to me. I think another stock is Wockhardt. It is correcting a little bit, I think, but overall, given the kind of developments we've seen in it, I think there is room for upside here as well. And also, I think Alembic. I think Alembic is another stock that we could look at. So yes, I think pharma is a space that will continue to hold its own. We will also have two stocks, I think, join. You'll have two exits from Nifty and two stocks joining. One of them will be Lupin. So I think that could be another interesting stock.
What about mid-cap IT, Sharmila? What's your call on mid-cap IT stocks? Some of these counters have seen phenomenal gains this year. Would you advise investors to hold on to these stocks?
Yes, I think so. I think in most of the stocks, there seems to be, some kind of individual story playing out, whether you're talking of an Elder Pharma or whether you're talking of a Shasun Chemicals. So a lot of interesting names, I think, over there. Even I think among the slightly larger stocks, I think a stock like an Ipca Laboratories, for instance, Lupin, as I mentioned earlier. So I think a lot of good pharma names there.
Sharmila, what about mid-cap IT? Because that as well has been showing traction the past couple of days.
Absolutely, and I think that will continue to move. So I think even there, whether it is a Satyam, where I would continue to be positive, though it's, I think, come up to about 100 kind of levels. I think even from here, I have comfort in buying the stock, or even a stock like a Polaris, for instance, or the kind of developments one is hearing over Geometric Aptech. So a lot happening there, and that clear preference for stocks which are in the non-BFSI kind of space is also showing. So whether it's a KPIT Cummins, whether it's a Rolta, I think a lot of interesting names there.
What about the telecom pack, Sharmila? We've seen second round of downgrades come in for a few counters like Bharti and Idea. How much more pressure do you think a stock like Bharti could be facing?
Possibly not much more. My guess is that there shouldn't be too much of a downside from here. But at the same time, I really wouldn't want to enter into the sector so soon. Because there is definitely lack of clarity, where the domestic operations, for instance, for Bharti are concerned with this whole auction issue. And I think overseas also the disappointment obviously came in the fact that Africa didn't give them the kind of numbers that market expected. So I think that said, so whether it's a Bharti or whether it's an Idea or a Reliance Communication, I think the pressures will stay. And I really think that one should just stay away from this sector for a couple of quarters, at least one quarter, if not more.
Sharmila, what about the power and coal-related stories? Are they also an avoid till the time the whole situation actually comes clear?
Yes, and that's a little sad because I think, power would have been a sector that, which I was in fact looking at very positively because, some of the policy paralysis, you expected some things to kind of jumpstart and some changes to come because that's a sector that's been crying out for reform for a long time at various levels. So my expectation was that something would be done for it. But I think this whole issue definitely puts a cloud over, some of the names, whether it's a Reliance Power, whether it's an Adani, whether it's a Tata Power. So yes, I think as you said, avoid for the time being until, further clarity emerges.
What about tire stocks? They've seen a good, smart rally on the back of a cooling off of rubber prices. Do you see more upside for some of these tire stocks?
So yeah, I think that's the interesting space, really, because I think that, whether you're talking of mid-cap IT or pharma or whatever, I mean, yes, we've seen them rallying for a bit, but, we've had auto ancillaries join the list. I think even some of the auto stocks, because you had a negative view on a Tata Motor, Mahindra and Mahindra, Maruti. But, post numbers, we've seen a little bit of activity coming back. So, if markets were to trend further, these could be some of the interesting sectors to be invested in. And I think, yes, tire stocks for sure, given, the way rubber prices have been. So I think it's also time to start looking for those pockets where, the underperformance has been. And to my mind, four-wheelers would be a space, auto ancillaries would be a space, possibly metals could be a space, but provided, of course, the caveat here being that you see markets sustain at this 5,400 kind of level.
Okay, Sharmila, good speaking with you and appreciate you taking the time out and joining us as always.